Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over all the things that I like, the things that I don't like, and my final thoughts here on the 2021 Toyota Tacoma Trail Edition. With all that being said, let's get right into the video. And I think I should always film these videos here out in the desert. It's so quiet and peaceful, and I mean the background pretty beautiful. But anyways, let's get into the things that I like and don't like about the truck. First thing that I like is the looks, and the color on this particular one is amazing. You guys can see here in the sunlight, just sparkles, and it is absolutely beautiful. But even though the Tacoma is pretty dated at this point, I still think it looks really good stylistically and still kind of holds its own in the mid-size truck segment, so that's all great. Moving on from that, you guys know I'm a huge fan of the LED lights you can get with the Tacoma, so the fact this doesn't have the LEDs, I understand why it doesn't, because it's, you know, an SR5, it's a lower down package. But still, LED lights on all the Tacomas, that would be cool, right? Because those look a lot better and more practical. Now, the thing that I really don't like is the fact this has an air dam. So this is supposed to be an off-road package. That means that this is supposed to be about having better off-road capability. An air dam is about fuel economy, not about ground clearance. And so it's a little bit mixed. I think that most people purchasing off-road vehicles are okay with giving up a little bit of fuel economy to have better ground clearance, and that obviously gets in the way. So I think that was a little bit of an oversight, and I mean, it's pretty easy. Just don't put this thing on, Toyota, and 2 thumbs up from me. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of an oversight. Anyways, moving on from that you can't see behind the air dam is the fact that this doesn't have any skid plates. Again, it's an off-road package. I think they should at least put a front skid plate on it. Just, you know, a little bit of under protection, or maybe offer it as, you know, a package you can get with the Trail Edition something. Because again, the fact this doesn't have skid plates in the factory, a little bit sketchy, right? It's supposed to be an off-road package. So I would have liked to see that. And then other than that, the safety tech, I do want to mention this. This is a huge plus. You guys can see it's got the sensor logo from Toyota. I think it's awesome this has so much safety tech at the price point it's at. It's got blind spot monitoring. It has adaptive cruise control. And yeah, in lane departure assistance and all that, like it's got a good amount of safety tech. So I think that's a huge positive. Now the next thing is the tire and wheel setup. I love the wheels. I think the wheels look absolutely fantastic. As you can see, really solid with that. The tire setup, not super aggressive, but again, I understand this is an entry-level off-road truck. They still, you know, get the job done and all that fun stuff. But it'd be cool to see a more aggressive tire as an option, at least. I love the blacked out badging, makes it look sportier. And I think the side view is the best view with the Tacoma. I think this is really just like the strong viewpoint with the Tacoma. It looks really good from the side. Aside from that, coming here to the back, obviously you guys know I'm not a fan of leaf springs for off-road vehicles. It's not too annoying on the Tacoma, honestly. There's not a whole lot of wheel hops, so I'm actually not going to complain about that too much. But, you know, if Toyota ever switched to coil suspension like they're doing with the Tundra with the Tacoma, I would not complain whatsoever. Now, these lock boxes back here, I think these things are pretty cool. I kind of mentioned in my review that you could put like fishing gear in here or something like that. I think it's cool that they offer this from the factory, and then the bed protection, all that, I think that's great as well. And then the power outlet in the bed, I'm also a fan of that, so I think that is all fun. And then finishing things here in the rear, again, blacked out badging is all great. Something that kind of got in the way with me earlier was the receiver hitch, and then also the exhaust tip. I did some minor crawling and scraped I think I'm pretty sure both of them, because you guys can see a little bit here on the receiver hitch, and I probably wasn't the first person to scrape the receiver hitch on this thing. And you guys can see on the exhaust tip, it's very, actually I don't even think I hit it, never mind, probably just the receiver hitch. But yeah, again, off-road vehicle, and that obviously gets in the way slightly. Also be cool to have skid plates here in the back as well for extra protection, like the fuel tank and all that kind of stuff, you know, the usual. And again, from this angle, looks great. So yeah, I think aesthetically they nailed it. Now popping to the interior, I like this, that they have padding here. This is easy to clean, but it's also nice that there's something to rest your arm on, not just bare plastic. Because again, this is an entry-level package, so it's not going to have the nicest materials, but I'm glad they did that. And then as for the seats, they're actually pretty comfortable here. And the Tacoma is actually pretty good for back seat storage and space and all that. So that's solid. Love the fact that it has rubber floor mats. Those are a lot easier to clean, so that's a huge plus. Also, they actually do a little bit of protection here. This is a high rock traffic area, so it's cool to have protection there from the factory. I think that that's a nice little thing. And then here at the front, same thing with the padding. Again, I already mentioned this earlier, but blind spot monitoring, the fact that it has that is great. Automatic front window is great. It'd be cool if the other windows were automatic, but you know, I get it. And then you can see the front seats. Again, they're very comfortable. The power adjustable, which is fun. And then actually popping in, I guess this will be my next complaint, because you guys are going to wonder, why is it taking Ben Hardy so long to turn this thing on? Still got one of these. right? 2021, almost 2022, and we still have to stick a key in the ignition. And then the gauge cluster itself, you know, looks a little bit dated, but that's actually not my complaint. I'm okay with that. The thing that I don't like is I can't see my tire pressure. And so, yeah, I think that should be something that I can see here on the gauge cluster. You can see here on vehicle information, you can see fuel economy, you can see distance, you can see time until rest, and yeah, there's nothing on the tire pressure, so it'd be cool to see that. Stability control is something I like. It's pretty easy to turn everything off. So you just have to hold it down for like 5 seconds. And then you can see traction off, and then everything's off. So I think that's a pretty neat thing. And then also the power outlet, cool that you can turn that on or off, obviously for safety. I really like the steering wheel. It's got nice perforated leather here on the side, so you actually get a really good grip on it. And again, like I said, lane departure, adaptive cruise control. The one thing I don't like about the steering wheel though is the feel. There's not a whole lot of feedback through the steering rack. It's pretty loosey-goosey, kind of like the Jeep Wrangler. So yeah, just kind of take that into account. And then this doesn't have a front camera or anything, which would be nice for an off-road vehicle. It's got a back camera. Resolution's not great. Trajectory lines don't turn with the steering wheel. I don't need that, but I would prefer, even if it's a low resolution camera, you know, just a front camera on this, because it's a trail edition, right? It's an off-road package. Infotainment system looks dated, so I guess that's a downside, but it's easy to use, and I really don't have any complaints. And the sound system in this is good as well, actually. I'm impressed it has dual zone climate. Again, at this price point, I didn't expect it. And also, it has a power sliding window, which is something that's also impressive to me. So I think that's a pretty big plus. And then it's cool that you can just turn off the blind spot wiring with a button. Driveline select, I actually used all of the driveline stuff today. I used two-wheel drive, four-wheel high, and then four-wheel low as well. Really easy to engage, so that's a huge positive for me. It's an easy system to use, but the only thing this truck is missing is a rear locker. Again, it's an off-road package, no rear locker. It's just tires and wheels pretty much. So it's like this intermediary. It's kind of like a mommy mall crawler off-road package, right? They give it the tires and wheels to make it look off-roady, but then it doesn't have lockers and it doesn't have skid plates. This is really easy to use. I will talk about the transmission here. I don't want to pop the hood because that's another downside. The Tacoma hood is ridiculously heavy. It is impossible for me to open that up with one hand. Like most cars, I can just get it. You have to use two hands with the Tacoma hood. It is ridiculously heavy. So we'll talk about the powertrain here. The 6-speed automatic actually does good while crawling. Higher speed stuff, it gets angry, and it's definitely, most mid-sized trucks, right? They aren't super powerful, but this, between the older transmission and the fact that this isn't, you know, it's kind of like on the lower end of power things for a mid-sized truck, it does feel kind of lackluster with the acceleration. So take that into account, but again, it's super reliable, super robust, so you have that going for it, so it's kind of like a catch-22. Right, center console's been nice. I like how durable this interior feels. Like, I feel like I can comfortably like smack things, and like, you know, like everything feels so well put together. Like, it feels like this interior can just take a beating. Like, I just take a hammer. I'm not going to, but I feel like I just take a hammer to the interior and just whack everything, and it'll be fine, and it'll stay in place. And I had like, this is the first vehicle that I have taken off-road that I have, other than tires popping. I always have that stress in my mind, but like, I've had no stress about anything breaking with this truck. Like, I'm not worried about the four-wheel drive system. I'm not worried about the shocks. I'm not worried about the suspension. I'm not worried about something with the engine or the electronics. Like, I feel so comfortable with this truck. So like, that's something to say, right? The reliability of Toyota, and you feel it when you drive it. You feel the durability, you feel the reliability. So I think that's a huge positive with the truck. It's like, this is one of the least stressful off-roading experiences for me, other than the fact that I was stressing about the tires and popping, and then also not having skid plates and worried about puncturing a fuel tank. Pushing that aside, I really wasn't worried about something breaking on the truck. I feel like this truck, like you can just tell it can take a beating. You really can. Now, obviously, I have to let you guys know if I would recommend you to purchase a Trail Edition. And here's what I have to say. For, you know, low $40,000 range, I think this is a really good value. Now, it's not a true off-road truck in my opinion. Yes, it can do some off-roading. You guys will see that with my off-roading video, depending on if this video posts first or if the off-road video posts first. But yes, it can do some off-roading, but it is missing some key things, right? It has some ground clearance issues because of the air dam there in the front. Does not have skid plates, does not have a rear locker, but it's got tires, it's got wheels that are good for off-roading, the shocks are good. It's got, again, it's got over 9 inches of ground clearance, so that's still pretty good. So it's a decent off-road package. This is something that I would recommend someone who's just gonna like come to an area like this and camp, right? If you're, as long as you're not gonna have to go over crazy obstacles where you're really gonna have to use all the ground clearance of this truck, you know, every ounce of capability it has, it's going to be a really solid truck for you. If you're just gonna do some, you know, light camping stuff where you know, out here in Utah, driving out to a place here in the desert that's just like a dirt trail, you might have to go up a couple of hills or something like that. It'll do fantastic. But if you're going to need to do more, you got to get a different version of the Tacoma that has skid plates, that has a locker, something like the TRD Pro, right? That's the most extreme, but like that has everything. So it just depends on where you're going to end up on the spectrum. But the Trail Edition is still great. If you're looking for a, a really reliable, robust, entry-level off-road truck that's not going to break the bank, it's barely above the average price of a brand new car because it's just over $40,000, then that's where this Trail Edition shines, and that's why you should end up getting it if you're kind of looking for something within that price range. Or I guess if you wanted a Tacoma that is very good to modify, because there's not a whole lot added to this, and so since it's less money and there's not a lot added to it, then you can modify this truck a crazy amount. But then at the same time, the argument could then be said, why not just get a base model SR Tacoma, because, well, then that would have even less options and that would be even less expensive, and then you'd have more money for modifications. So I don't know. That's all. I'm going to sum that's going to close up the video. Thanks to Toyota for lending me this vehicle, and I'll see you guys.